Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is No Soundbites Allowed, and I am your host, Michael Voss, the political dragon here in the Bronx, New York. It is June 10th, about noon and a little after noon, and I want to talk about what's happening in LA. Now, specifically, I want to talk about some of the rumors, the things that are being hidden from the public, some of the things that are being shown to the public that aren't true. There's a couple of issues there. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is something that seems to have been scrubbed, virtually scrubbed from the entire internet, but it happened. Now, a lot of people have said Democrats are following the same kind of denial as they did with Antifa, as they did about autonomous zones, as they did about the rioting during 2020, 2021, even in 2022. And we've heard over and over again from many people that this is what is happening right now. But Democrats tell you, no, it's not true. We've also heard a lot of people say, well, no, the left isn't saying that this is a mostly peaceful protest, that they wouldn't try that line again on live TV with video evidence of something very different. That couldn't possibly happen again. So there's a lot of people trying to say, what I'm about to show you is a lie, but it's true. So what we have here is from Colin Rugg. This was on June 8th, 2 days ago, on Sunday, and it was posted at 9:23 p.m. 1 million people have seen it so far, and many people are online right now trying to deny this. They have said that this is just AI, it's not real. Who you see on the screen right now is California congressional congresswoman Judy, and she is speaking with MSNBC. This took place at 9:16 and in the evening in New York, Eastern Standard Time, 6:16 in LA. And this is what she had to say, and I want you to hear this very carefully.
You have outliers that throw things and cause damage.
Outliers are causing damage. Not protesters, because they aren't protesting. These are riots. These are rioters. But she's calling them outliers. Now, no, that's not what's happening here. This maybe one or two people. We have lots of video. This is not a true statement. And it's getting bigger. We have more people supposedly being shipped in, but whether they're naturally from LA or being shipped in, doesn't matter. There are growing crowds of people who are rioting in more and more areas around LA. That is a fact. Let's go on.
And so, yes, the LAPD came in and they called it an unlawful assembly.
It's not an unlawful assembly. It's a riot. There's a difference. 10 people standing somewhere without authorization, without notification, disrupting, making it hard for people to walk past them on a street. That's unlawful assembly. Disrupting cars from traveling on the road can be unlawful assembly. Burning cars, breaking and destroying property, that's not unlawful assembly. We have words for that. That's called vandalism. It's property damage. It's a crime. This is a riot. Whether you like that term or not, that's what it is. And Judy Chu doesn't like that because these are Democrats who are doing this to back up Democrat desire to support illegal aliens, not the American people. But let's go on.
I believe that the LAPD has this underhand.
Do you see what's on the screen right now? Live. This was live. These were live images in LA. And I'm sure Congresswoman Chu was aware of this at the time. Her staff were on top of this. They knew that police cars were being set on fire, that there was damage, property damage that was occurring, that rioting was taking place. She knew that before she got on with MSNBC. She knew this, but she's going to push the party line because your lying eyes don't believe that. Believe what the party tells you. Obey.
And they are very, very experienced in riot control.
They're very experienced in allowing riots to happen. That's not control. They let riots happen. LA's experience isn't the best when it comes to rioting, even before 2020.
So this is something that they can handle.
Does it look like that's being handled? Again, this is on Sunday, and now here it is on Tuesday, and the riots have only gotten bigger. There are more riots in more locations with more people and more property damage. Does that sound like it's under control at all?
We do not have to have the National Guard here. We certainly...
Apparently, you do. You do, because the police aren't doing anything to stop this, apparently. They're not limiting this. They're not, even if they are trying, and I'm sure some officers are, they're not effective. They have been blockading the protests, but they haven't been impeding the protests. Because Representative Judy and Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom, they agree with the illegal aliens. They agree with open borders. They agree in having illegal aliens decimate the infrastructure of California and the United States. So anything that opposes Orange Man bad and aligns with their progressive ideology, yeah, they're not trying to stop it. They support them. They're just not getting in the way. They're telling the police not to get in the way. They're not trying to stop it. They're just allowing it to happen and somewhat limiting where it happens at. But let's go on.
Do not have to have the Marines here. This is a manufactured crisis.
Billowing smoke. 4 police cars in flames. It's now been 3 days of protesting. All of this happening with illegal aliens and Democrats. Republicans aren't out there. Conservatives are not out there. Libertarians, for the most part, as far as I'm aware, aren't out there. The only people who are out burning down parts of LA, attacking police officers, that's the left. They're the only ones doing this. So, yeah, it seems like there is a need for National Guard. And the argument about the Marines, I personally think it's a little too early for that, especially having U.S. military on U.S. soil. There are some complications. It can be done. It has happened in the past, so it's not like it's never been done before, but very different circumstances, and I don't think it's appropriate at this moment, but I understand the reason for the threat, and I understand why it is happening. Whether I agree with it completely is different, but Representative Judy Gavin Newsom, and Karen Bass, they're wrong. They have no control over this. Here we are in day 3 or 4 of the protesting. Yeah, they have no control. And that's just apparent. She's just putting out Orange Man bad because she's a Democrat. You have to obey the party line. Now, a bunch of people saw this and saw this video, and they said, well, this is AI. This isn't real. Well, actually, it is real. Now, a lot of people say it's not real because if you put in Judy MSNBC interview, now that should bring up a lot of interviews. And if you look for this week, it doesn't come up. The only filter that I have on right now is this week. So this week would include June 8th. And what I just showed you from MSNBC should show up. So people are saying, well, it's not real. It's AI. It's fake. Well, actually, I went to Grok and I asked, gee, can you confirm, is this video real? Is this clip from Colin Rugg? This was put out by Colin Rugg, who is, whether you like him or not, owner of Trending Politics. He is someone who, if he was misrepresenting MSNBC, he would get sued. He would get sued in a heartbeat. So he is protecting himself by showing something that's truthful, and he is considered somewhat credible. Not perfect, but credible. So if you go into Grok and say, hey, is this real? The video clip from MSNBC featuring Representative Judy, Democrat from California, discussing the situation in Los Angeles amid unrest is real and aired on June 8th, 2025, as part of MSNBC's live coverage. It is real. The backdrop of this discussion is about the riots, okay? So it's real. It's confirmable. Mind you, Grok, can they find any other video clips of Representative Judy on MSNBC on June 8th at 9:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:16 Pacific Time, as we can see identified in the verified real video from MSNBC? No, they don't know where it is. They do know that Colin Rugg posted it, and it's been scrubbed. There is no other source. No one else, the news media, Google, have wiped it out. If it weren't for Colin Rugg putting that out, no one would be able to know that Democrats were lying to the public, to their face, even as evidence, facts, were presented side by side. So it tells you something about that. It really does show you the way that's being hidden, but that's one of the stories. So someone asked me, is it real? The answer is yes, it is real. Yes, Democrats are trying to say it's a peaceful or mostly peaceful protest, as you can see rioting going on, and you can see destruction and chaos, and it's only gotten worse. That being said, there was another story that I want to bring up. And this is a story that I saw. It was brought up to me. It was on Facebook. I know it's going around the internet. And it's a story that says, Marines arrest senior California National Guard NCO on suspicion of mutiny. And according to this story, which is from Real Raw News, which is not considered a credible news source, not credible. So Real Raw News, written by Michael Baxter, that's the journalist being accredited with this story. He should be fired instantly. He won't be, and I'll show you why he won't be, but Michael Baxter has no idea what he's doing. He's not legitimate at all. Real Raw News, in publishing this and several other stories, they're not legitimate. You should not trust them. But this was going around, and I saw this on Facebook amongst other sources, that they say that the United States Marines are helping ICE and the National Guard in California, and they arrested a senior California National Guard NCO on Sunday, and they arrested him for treason. This is not real. They say that approximately at 1 in the afternoon, a Marine recon squad apprehended Command Chief Master Sergeant Lynn E. Williams. That's the individual you see a photo of right there. Lynn E. Williams, Command Senior Enlisted Leader to the Adjutant General, the California Military Department, outside his home, and handed him a military arrest warrant charging him with insurrection and treason. This is a lie. Did not happen. Untrue. There is no basis for this. Now, I searched for any other news source that corroborated this. There isn't one. I looked for international sources, as I often do, to find verification. There isn't one. I checked with the military, looking at military records, because if this happened, either somewhere, either with the National Guard or with the Marine Corps, there would be a notification of either the arrest or an attempt to arrest this individual. In fact, if this were real, we would know the unit. There would not be some random, unnamed, unknown Marine recon squad. We would have the unit's name and number. We would know who was in charge. We would know their commanding officer. That's military chain of command. So when people say, I can't tell if something is real or not, and again, I'll go back to the interview with MSNBC, which we can see. Well, we have information here. We know it's MSNBC is identified as the news source. We have a timestamp. We have a location. We have a clear image and identification of who is involved. We have a storyline, a tagline there, so we can timestamp that. We can corroborate that with real factual news that was going on at that time. We have all the things that we need to identify and confirm this video. When we look at this article and when you see something, first of all, the headline makes no sense. The story makes no sense. So we don't have any corroboration. There's nothing that backs this up. They're just mentioning, well, Marine Corps Forces Cyber Command, that's not an identifier. That isn't telling us who did what. They go on to say in this story, not only was Master Sergeant Williams arrested, they go on to make the claim that this happened because the Marine Corps illegally wiretapped United States civilians on domestic soil and listened to Mayor Karen Bass speaking to Sergeant Williams. That's illegal. That's a crime. They can't do that. That automatically, the story doesn't make any sense. It's not credible. Going on, in this wiretap that supposedly happened, then we see that they allege that Mayor Karen Bass was conspiring with Sergeant Williams to commit acts of treason. There is no way the United States military cannot wiretap and listen into, legally cannot wiretap and listen to American citizens. It is illegal. The only people who could probably get a wiretap and listen in like that, besides law enforcement with a warrant, would be the FBI with a warrant. Even if they used the Patriot Act, there would still be a warrant on record for them. They would have to get authorization. They cannot just pick up their equipment and start listening to California Mayor Karen Bass and listen to her conversations with the military. Not possible. This is not credible in any way or shape. They go on to say that they have a source, which says that it goes without saying we had good reason to detain Sergeant Williams. He was talking about military. We found him, tracked him, and stopped him. Well, first of all, that's a horrible sentence. But more importantly, our source, who's your source? What's the source? What's their position? Are they in the military? Are they in the FBI? Are they in the Trump administration? Are they part of Mayor Bass's office? Is it part of Governor Gavin Newsom's office? Who is this individual? Where is this source located? How are you telling me it's some private out in Camp Lejeune? What's your source? They don't provide any understanding or any background of this supposed source. So it's, again, not credible. And thus, when you look it up with ChatGPT, when you look for information on this, you won't find it. It's just not there. By the way, it's not credible, but also another way to find out that this is not credible and this organization is not credible. If you just click on Michael Baxter, the author of that, the journalist of that article, and you look at some of the other articles that they have written. Okay, we're looking through, and let's see. The thing that caught my attention instantly, Antony Blinken executed at Gitmo on June 7th. What? Antony Blinken, the former Secretary of State under Joe Biden, he's been executed? He's been killed? Just do a quick Google search. Antony Blinken is not dead. Antony Blinken has not been executed. These headlines aren't real. He's just making up propaganda and pushing it out there to you. to make you feel like he did something real. And notice the top authors for Real Raw News. There's Michael Baxter and there's Mike Baxter. Same person. Just because he goes by Mike sometimes instead of Michael, it's the same guy. Same guy. There is no difference. I go by Michael and Mike. So, same person. Just changing his name and changing his avatar doesn't mean that there's extra authors, that they're doing more work. It's a way to make it seem like there's more people on his team than there are. Now, it could be his son. Maybe it's Mike. One is Mike Baxter Sr., one's Michael Baxter Jr. Well, then you would have a senior or a junior attached because they don't have Michael Baxter the third or the fourth, junior or senior. So you're talking about the same person. Highly unlikely that they would have two people with the same exact name, and if they did, they'd include their middle initials. The last thing I wanted to touch on, briefly, is that there's worrying footage showing anti-ICE protesters doling out tactical gear in LA. That's right, that the protesters, the rioters, the supporters of illegal aliens, criminals in America, these leftists out there, that they're gearing up to fight with 700 Marines, 2,000 National Guard, and the 75,000 law enforcement of California. Because they're trying to enforce the law, and the leftists have feelings. So the feelings of the leftists are supposed to be more important than the law and those who are enforcing the law. And the bad guys are the people trying to stop the riot, who are trying to stop buildings being broken, cars being set on fire. Yeah, they're the bad guys, supposedly. This doesn't make any sense. And I've seen some people say, well, Mike, this is just like the last news story. It's just like that raw news. It's not credible. It's not real. Yeah, this is coming from the New York Post. It is a credible story. And there are several other sources, most of them right-leaning. The right-leaning news are putting out there. So it's kind of like with Judy Chu, where the left, yeah, it was their story, but they scrubbed it because they don't want people to see that. It makes Judy Chu look bad. She might not get reelected. So they're hiding that from the public. And in this case, now this is information that's being pushed out by the right-leaning media, and the left is denying it, and they're ignoring it as much as they can. But we have images, as you can see on screen right now, which shows that there are leftists who are handing out to the crowd what appears to be gas masks and shields in an effort to gear up for confrontations with the Marines and with National Guard and LA law enforcement. This is very, very important. I think this is very important because we have the proof. This person who was not identified, they're wearing a mask. We can't see them. Several people are wearing kifas and masks, so they can't be identified. Okay. They do seem to be doing this. We have images. That is concerning. Now, the left is going to say, no, you just don't understand. Well, there's the image. We see it. It's been captured on video. This is a freeze frame of that. So we know they are organizing. We do know that they are growing in their numbers, the rioters. We do know they support illegal aliens and criminality. I tell you, this is real. You may not like the sources, which would include Breitbart, which would include Fox News, which include New York Post. You may not like the sources, but we have the evidence. Multiple sources have confirmed this. So it does appear to be correct. Now, it may turn out that there's something else in the box. It's not a shield. It's not a gas mask. It's possible they could be transporting, pamphlets on why being an illegal alien is a good thing. Could be. I don't think that's the case. And I think you'll see in the next day or so that there will be confrontations. And I think the really dangerous part of this story is something that I was talking about. I don't think I was talking about Sunday. Might have been on during the Sunday live stream. Might have been my conversation with Larry Sharp, my good friend who's a libertarian. It was real simple. The left are going to be doing something stupid. One of the problems in deploying Marines in LA to combat the rioters isn't so much Kent State, but that some stupid leftist will think that they can taunt and antagonize Marine Corps, the military, in the same way they would antagonize police, and they'll get the same response they would get from police officers. No, they're not. Let me make this very clear. For those leftists out there, those rioters out there right now, who think that they've got a handle on this, and their goal is to get a clip, a video clip, that they're going to produce that's going to edit out the provocation of the protesters, of these rioters, antagonizing the Marines, and they will only show the 15 seconds of that Marine or the entire unit responding to the antagonizing actions of the protesters. That's what they want. So they can then say, see, it's just like Kent State all over again. Yes, Trump is an authoritarian, orange man bad. You have to vote Democrat because MAGA is evil. That's what they want to do. They want that 10, 15 second clip of somebody, pointing a gun or being aggressive against a protester. It's stupid. Because this is the Marine Corps, not police. They aren't trained to peacefully quell a riot. I know. I've been a Marine. I know many, many Marines throughout my lifetime, before and after I served. And I can tell you, we aren't trained to quell a riot. We're trained to kill the enemy through superior firepower and maneuver to remove the enemy's willingness and ability to continue to fight. In other words, we kill and maim people. That's what Marines do. That's just a fact. Whether you like it or not, totally different, but that's what Marines are trained to do. We're not there to be police officers. We're not nice people. We go in, we're hard chargers, we take the ground, we beat down the enemy. That's it. And some stupid leftist is going to try and antagonize those Marines. And that, inevitably, there is going to be a Marine who is going to be fed up with either having rocks thrown at them while they're being called every name in the book, people running up and charging at them, but then stopping at the last moment, trying to take quick hits at them when they're not looking. They're going to try and do a lot of stupid things. This is what rioters do. And we've seen this from the far left on a regular basis. And they count on the fact that people are going to clip all the edits. They never go live to show you everything that's happening. They only show you the edit, the 15 seconds, the 30 seconds that they've clearly cut so that it'll look exactly the way they want it to. That's what they're counting on. But Marines aren't going to act like police officers. Marines will knock them out. Marines will hurt them badly, perhaps even permanently. You're not going to just get Kent State. You're going to get Kent State on steroids. If you're in the left and you're getting shields and gas masks because you want to antagonize the Marines, stop. Don't do this. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to be hurt. You will be hurt. This is not going to turn out the way you think it is. You're going to get more than a 30-second clip of someone being beat down hard, being harmed permanently, because that's what Marines do. It's not intentional. It's not because, they personally don't like you. That's what we are trained to do. We're trained to kill and maim. That's our job. Other services, the Air Force, Navy, Marine, Army, they may be trained to do very different things. They might be nice police officers and treat you very kindly. No, that's not the Marines. We're not there to be nice. We're not there to be policing. Don't antagonize the Marines. But inevitably, if this goes on to day 5 or day 6, which would mean that it's probably an artificial riot, in terms of people are being shipped in. Riots tend to last about 3 to 5 days on average. Why? People get tired. People go home, they go to rest and sleep, and the anger, the energy that motivated them to go out and riot in the first place tends to end. There are very few riots that tend to last longer than just about 5 to 7 days. Now, when they do, and some do go longer than that, that's usually because you have waves of individuals who are joining the riot after the fact. These are usually people from other areas who aren't native to the location the riot started in. And we saw that over in Seattle, In Portland, we saw that. They had 120 days of rioting. Well, most of the people rioting were being shipped in. They weren't natives to Portland. They weren't even natives to Washington State. They were people from other states, in some cases other countries, being imported into Portland so that they could have those protests. And so they had waves of individuals with energy coming in and protesting for about 3 to 5 days at a time, and then another wave would replace them. Either the original people that started this or another shipment of people from outside the community coming in. So that's what I mean when I say there's a level of unnatural energy in the LA riots. These aren't just individuals native to LA County. These are people who are coming in from other areas to support and supplement that. That's what I truly believe. And if we see it last more than 5 to 7 days, that is almost absolutely what has happened. The worst thing they can do is go after the Marines. They want a Kent State moment. They will get it. They will regret having done that. It will not go well. Now, it will look bad for President Trump, yes, but it will be worse for them. The suffering they will go through will be 10 times worse. And I warn you now, when you see that video clip, because I am absolutely sure if they're getting gas masks, they're getting ready with their shields, they're getting ready with handmade disposable weapons. You know, they fill their water bottles with actually battery acid. They carry around umbrellas that have been sharpened to points. They have walking sticks that have lead lined inside there. They use these tricks to make it seem like they are defenseless when they're actually very well armed indeed. These protesters, and they're not protesters, they're rioters. This is a riot. It's not a protest. The moment it became violent, it stopped being a protest. It wasn't, and it never has been, an unrest. This has been a riot. That's it. This is rioting in and of itself. That's it. You may want to say it's not insurrectionist, but it may be treasonous. You can say that. It may be seditious. You could say that. It's not insurrectionist. The problem is real. And in the next couple of days, there will be, I am sure, a video clip that will have a very unique angle that will be extremely short, 15 to 30 seconds long, most likely. That's going to just show the reaction of a Marine, possibly National Guard, to some protester. And it's going to only show that member of the military being an aggressor against the protester, the rioter. And I guarantee you that if you saw the 30 seconds, minute beforehand, you would see a very different thing. And if you see the 30 seconds to a minute after that edited clip, you'd probably see that the military would stop that individual. They would reorganize themselves. They would calm down. They would try and stop the event because that's what normally happens, especially with military who are well trained and disciplined. But you're going to see clips that are going to look like, oh my God, it's the Marines who just lost their minds. They're just wild animals. No, they're not. They're very well trained, very well disciplined, and we do our job very extremely well. Our job just happens to be kill and maim the enemy. But we're very good at it. That's our job, and we do it extremely well. The leftists, they're not ready for this. But I just wanted to share this with you, let you know. So, just to recap very quickly here, we have, did Representative Judy try to push the message that the protests are peaceful and under control as several, at least 4 police cars are burning, and we're seeing this escalate? Yes, she did. Yes, the news media are trying to cover it up. They're trying to hide that from the public because they want Representative Judy and Democrats to win in the 2026 midterms. So they're hiding the truth from the public. Is it true that Mayor Karen Bass was working with the National Guard, California National Guard, to commit acts of treason and or insurrection? No, that is not true. Was or has there been Master Sergeant Lynn Williams? Did they get arrested? No, that is not true. Did not happen. This is a complete fabrication. Do not believe that. Finally, are the leftists, the ones who are rioting throughout LA County right now, are they gearing up to have encounters, violent encounters with the Marine Corps and or National Guard? Yes, apparently they are. The evidence seems to indicate that at least some of them are gearing up for that. Why are they doing that? The best guess is they're looking to try and get a video clip to make the Marines look bad, theoretically, to claim that Orange Man Bad is authoritarian, to try and escalate the PR war, to distract from the illegal aliens that Democrats are supporting, the criminality that Democrats are supporting, the stories like Judy who have said, oh, don't believe your eyes, this is mostly peaceful as you're seeing property burn. That's what's going to happen. That is what is happening, and it is real. So 2 true stories, 1 thing that isn't. This is information for you. Take it as you will. I look forward to hearing your comments about these 3 stories. Please do share this with everyone. Remember, every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live stream with you. We look forward to having you join us on stories like this and others. Tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 p.m., I will be with the Liberty First Foundation doing our Wednesday roundtable. I'm sure this and other developments will be discussed. I look forward to seeing you throughout the week.